Welcome to our Amud Yom Shir, Masechet Shabbos, the International Amud Yom of Dirshu. We are a little bit behind because today we should be in Chaf Aleph Amud Beis. We are still in Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph. We are in the wide lines, the fifth wide line. Okay, Tani Rami Bar Chama. Okay, we said that one's not allowed to light Shabbos candles with oils. Thank you. With oils that are not functional, that are not good enough, they won't, get absorbed nicely into the wick, or with wicks that would not absorb the oil nicely and would not have the flame, nice and steady. Because then what's going to happen, if you see the light flickers, you'll come to tilt it in order to steady the light, and that chas v'shalom will be hav'ara on Shabbos, and we're concerned about that. Tani Rami Bar Chama. Now we're going to talk about Beis Hamikdash. In Beis Hamikdash, Yetani Rami Bar Chama, I think the fifth line from the wide ones, and in Beis Hamikdash there were a few places where candles were lit. The most famous one, obviously, is the Menorah, with the seven konim inside the Kodesh. There was a Menorah, right? Every day, every night, you'd have to light it, according to Rambam, also every day. And also on Simchas Beis HaShoeva, during Sukkot Simchas Beis HaShoeva, there were four very big lights outside that would light like the whole city in the Ezras Noshim, where everybody would be dancing in Simchas Beis HaShoeva. So now, let's see how that works. The lighting in Beis Hamikdash. How does that work in light of what we just said? Pun unintended. Tani Ami Bar Chama. Psilos ushmanim shomu chachomim ein madlikin bahen b'Shabbos. The same psilos and shmanim that chachomim said not to light with them on Shabbos. Ein madlikin bahen b'Mikdash. So too in Beis Hamikdash, you should not light with them. And the understanding is that we talk about the Menorah, maybe also other things, as we're going to see. But in the Menorah, when you light the Menorah, do not use, the psilos that are not allowed. Now, shmanim is a little bit difficult to understand because you're only supposed to use shemen zayis anyways, right? So some say shmanim is really a mistake here. It doesn't have to appear over here. Or maybe shmanim applies to different candles, which we'll discuss later. But let's now discuss the psilos. The psilos, the wicks of the menorah, should not be those bad wicks, the ones we mentioned before, from all these funny, coarse things. Don't use them in Beis Hamikdash. Why? Mishum shenemar lehalois ner tomid. Because it says regarding the menorah, lalos ner tomid. Well, what does it mean lalos ner tomid? To light, to have the ner going up. What does it mean? So what? Hu tani la v'hu omer la. He taught us the brayso, Rami Bar Chama, and Rami Bar Chama also explains how does it derive from the pasuk of lalos ner tomid that you can't use the wrong kind of wick. He says because leha'alois. What does leha'alois means? It means kidei sheteh shalevis oilo me'eleho v'lo sheteh oilo lidei dovo acher. That's what it means. Which means when you light when you light the menorah in the kodesh, you light your kohen, you light the menorah of Beis Hamikdash. Make sure that the kind of lighting should be such lighting that the fire goes by itself. The flame goes by itself, nice and steady, and not through something else. Now, something else doesn't mean another item. Rashi says, "Lo'olidei tikun v'hatoya," not by fixing and tilting. In other words, it should be such oile. Oile means going up and up all the time. Fire goes up, right? Also in Machshava, fire is gaiva, right? Fire, it should keep going up and up all the time automatically without you having to kvetch and deal with it all the time and patchke with it. That should be a condition of menorah. And therefore, halacha l'maisa, what does it mean? That you should not light with those wicks that are flickery, because you're not mekayim the mitzvah. Could be that it's even the oraisa. They're not good because it's not oil, it's on and off, and you have to keep playing with it. That's not what you should have in the menorah. Tanan. Now we're going to see a Mishnah in Sukkah and in Yuma. Tanan. It says in the Mishnah, in Sukkah, I think, it says, Mibloi michnose kohanim umehem yanehem, from the bloim, which means once you have the michnasei kohanim, the pants, the trousers, whatever you call them, the michnasaim of the kohanim, they got worn and torn and out of use. A kohen is not allowed to wear clothes that are worn out. He should wear nice new clothes. That's halacha. Yes, midoy bad. And therefore, what do you do with the leftovers? What do you do? And mehem yanehem, also from the, so to speak, leftover used the gartel, the avnet, right? What did they do with the leftover clothes? they would cut them into pieces, into wicks. Hoyu mafkin, they would cut it. They would, cut it into pieces, into wicks, rags. Umehen madlikin, and they would light from them. They would use them for lighting. We don't know what kind of lighting. They would use them for lighting what? The candles in Beis Hamikdash, and that's not good. Why? Because Lamaisa, you have tzemer there. You have a lot of tzemer, right? Let's look at the Hemyaneim. Let's ignore for now the pants. We will talk about it, I promise. But now let's talk about Hemyaneim. Hemyaneim of either Kohen Gadol, for sure, or it's a Mechlokes in Yuma Daf Vav, if also the Kohen Hedyot, they're made out of shatnez. And the shatnez was actually, there was tzemer. There was wool there. There was a lot of wool there. There were 3 types of wool and 1 type of pishtan. So it's 3/4 wool. And we said wool is a no-no. We said wool was very bad for lighting. Wool doesn't light nicely. It flickers. Wool is like very fibery. So how come they lit with that? You just told me in Beis Hamikdash not to use the ones of a Mishnah. And they contain a lot of wool. Tesis points 3. It was 75% wool. So why do you use them for Beis Hamikdash? We thought it's not allowed. Answers the Gemara, Simchas Beis Sheva Shaini. It's a different story. Simchas Beis Sheva, in other words, that Mishnah does not apply to the Menorah. And Chinami, it only applies to those 4 huge candles that were outside the Nezos Noshim. And there, I don't care that it flickers, because first of all, it doesn't say Lalus Ner Tomid. The mitzvah, there's no mitzvah to light it it's more like a technical thing, It is covered the korban, Tosfos says, that's why there was a Havamina. But Lamaisa, it's not the mitzvah hadloka, right? It's not written in the Torah, Bechlal. And therefore, Mimela, there's no problem of using those kind of wicks. They were very big, and they would light, like they would flicker on and off, and you would dance, and everything is okay. There's no mitzvah there of Lalus Ner Tomid. Now continues another brisa, Toshma, the Tani Rabba Bar Matana, Bigde Kehuna Shabolu, again, Bigde Kehuna that were worn out, Mafkin Oisan, they would cut them into pieces, Umehen Hayu Oisin Psilois Lamikdash, and again, they would make Psilois Lamikdash. And at this point, we think Psilois Lamikdash means the Menorah. Again, you're in trouble, right? My love, the Kilain. Aren't we talking here about all types of garments of a Kohen, including the avnate, the gartel that was made out of kilaim, and yet you use it for the menorah? And says Gemara, loy the boots. No. If you follow the kleha, the bigde kehuna, boots means pure cotton or pure pishtan, pure flax, pure linen. In other words, the Kohen Hedyot, all 3 clothes, or even maybe the gartel, were made out of pure linen. Only the Kohen Gadol had a lot of shatnez, but the other one, the Kohen Hedyot. So and that's what Michnasayim we spoke about before. The Michnasayim and the Kosoines, the upper garment of a Kohen Hedyot, were pure pishtan. Pishtan is very good for lighting. Pishtan is good for lighting. So I opened the Rambam, and he says exactly like the Gemara says. The Menorah outside, which is not really Menorah, the 4 big lights of Simchas Beis Sheva, it's more like a, so to speak, secular kind of lighting. And there, what do you need to do? Use whatever you want. You can use tzemer, pishtim, because there's no prerequisite. There's no hakpad of the Torah. And in Achnami, they used what? The avnate. They would take the old avnatim, the big belts that they had, use that as wicks. Very good. Use them again. Mashe'enken, when it comes to the Menorah, they would use the kosoines or the michnasayim. They would use the michnasayim and the kosoines, which were pure linen. That would be used for the menorah, and that's very good because they light very nicely, and it's lalus ner tamid, and that's I saw Rambam halacha. Interesting, the Rambam doesn't say michnasayim, and I don't know why. And I remember seeing somewhere one time I learned it that michnasayim is not so covered for the menorah because it's like the pants. So relatively for the erva, I don't remember, it's not so mechubad to use that for the menorah. So they would take the upper garment, once worn, once torn, they would use it for the menorah. Okay, very good. Now we're starting the sugya of Chanukah. Everybody knows Bameh Madlikin is Chanukah. We're going to have a good few days now. Bezos Hashem about Chanukah. 1 second, please. Before we continue, so we all know that on Shabbos, we can't use those bad wicks and oils because you may come to tilt it on Shabbos. Chanukah, l'choira, there's no problem. Why? Let me tilt it as much as I want. It's a weekday, right? So that's question number one. Is there an issue of tilting? L'choira not. What about Shabbos Chanukah? That's another question. Shabbos of Chanukah. And also we have another question on Chanukah, that on Chanukah you're supposed to have your candles maybe light for how long? For half an hour, kos regel min hashuk. These are the questions we're going to see. So basically we're going to now have three opinions regarding two issues: lighting Chanukah candles during Chanukah weekdays, yeah, and lighting Chanukah candles on Shabbos. It's really not complicated, but you should have like a chart in your mind with 6 boxes, yeah? Chanukah Shabbos, Chanukah Chol, and you're going to have 3 opinions. Really very easy. Let's see. Amar Ravuna. Opinion number 1 is Ravuna. Psilus u'shmanim shamu chachomim ein madlikin be'en Shabbos. The psilus and the shmanim, the wicks and the oils, which chachomim said not to light on Shabbos, the flicker, they're no good. Ein madlikin ben b'Chanukah. You're not allowed to light with them on Chanukah. Ben b'Shabbos, ben b'Chol. Either Shabbos Chanukah or Shabbos weekday, you're not allowed to light with them. Each one for a different reason, though. What are the reasons? Omar Rove. Rove is explaining Ravuna. My time at the Ravuna, you know what's Ravuna's reasons? He thinks 2 things. First of all, Kasavar Kovso Zokuklo. Kovso Zokuklo means that if the Ner Chanukah is extinguished, I don't know, the wind blew it, or it's just not so well, whatever, I don't know why, went out, yeah? Then Zokuklo, you have to light it again, yeah? You have to relight it. You have to make sure it's lit for a long time until regel min hashuk. And therefore, if you're going to use bad candles, yeah, you're going to go crazy already because it's going to go out. It's going to go out, and he may be poshea, says Rashi, and you won't have the nerves anymore to light again and again, because you're supposed to light again and again, and you won't because it's bad material to work with. And that's why Chachamim, even during the week, they don't allow you to use that on Chanukah. That's on a weekday. The reason why on Shabbos you should not have your Chanukah candles lit with those bad wicks, you know why? For the same reason of every Shabbos. According to this opinion, believe it or not, we all know that's not the halacha. You're allowed to use the Chanukah candles for your own use. So comes Leil Shabbos, you're allowed to have your Chanukah candles as your light, to light your eating your beautiful, amazing gefilte fish and chicken soup or whatever you eat, by the light of the Chanukah candles. Mutter lishtamish la'oira, and if it starts flickering, you may come to play with it, just like any other candle. So Mimela, because of those 2 reasons, either weekday or Shabbos, don't use the bad wicks and bad oils. That's opinion number 1 in Ravuna. In our chart, we have X, X. Don't use it for Chol, don't use it for Shabbos. Here comes opinion number 2. Rav Chizda Omar, Madlikin ben Bechol, Avalo b'Shabbos. Rav Chizda says you're allowed to light with it during the week on Chanukah, but on Shabbos Chanukah, you don't light with it. Why? Now it's easier. Kasovar, Chovso, Ein Zokuk Lo. Oh, which means, Bitzad the weekday, what happens if the candle goes out after 3, 4, 5 minutes? After 2 minutes, no problem. Ein Zokuk Lo. You don't have to worry about it again. And therefore, if you light with bad oils, with bad wicks, etc. Yeah, the mitzvah is to light. I lit it. Yeah, now I'm going to play dreidel with my kids. Finished. I don't care to eat the levivos. Finished. Yeah, I don't. So therefore, who cares if I light with something bad? I don't have to relight it. But because I'm allowed to use the Chanukah candles every night, including Shabbos, I can actually function and eat and drink and play dreidel by the lights of the candles, enjoying the light of the Chanukah candles. Imela, there's a chash on Shabbos, and we come to tilt it. Because on Shabbos I use it, same like any other candle. That's on Shabbos, don't use it. That's Rav Chizda. That's opinion number 2. So opinion number 2, you have an X and a tick. One time it's allowed, and on Shabbos not, right? Now comes opinion number 3. Omar Abzer, Omar Rav Matna, Omar Abzer, Omar Rav, the third opinion. He says it's okay through and through. Silos ushmanim shomu chachomim ein madliken ben b'Shabbos. Those wicks and oils that chachomim said not to light on Shabbos, madliken ben b'Chanukah, ben b'Chol, ben b'Shabbos. On Chanukah, you're allowed to use those candles, and in other words, those oils and those wicks on Chol and Shabbos, and we're going to explain why. My time at the Rav, you know what's Rav's reason? Now we know why. Kasavar kovso ein zokuklo. Mitzad the weekday, how diligent will I be to relight? Who cares? Ein zokuklo. I can have my candle there, right? It has oil, it has a wick. And by the way, I have to understand, they may yes function. It's just a question. Yeah, it's likely that they're going to go out, but maybe not. Yeah, but there are chances it will go out. And what will happen if I don't relight it? I won't. I don't have to. Oh, that's the whole board. The question is, what's the percentage? There's a discussion about it. It's not like lighting with the Coke, with Coca-Cola. You did create some kind of functional nair. So it may survive, may not. But even if it won't, I'm not worried about it. And Zokuklo, so I'll use the bad one. So what? So I won't relight it. I don't have to. The also lishtamish leoiro. Oh, Chiddush is you may also use those bad oils for a ner Chanukah on Shabbos. Why? Because I'm not allowed to use the ner Chanukah for my own enjoyment. Says Rashi, shianikar shehu ner mitzvah. We all know that, right? Everybody has to know. It has to be visible and clear and evident that Chanukah is for mitzvah, not for my own use. And therefore, even if it flickers, it's a little bit annoying. I don't really need that light, right? I'm not relying on it. It's time in the corner, by the window, by the door, by the thing. So I'm not gonna go crazy. If it flickers, yeah, the small little candles over there. I'm not using them anyways. I'm using something else, right? And Mimela, there's no problem to use the candles, yeah, even for the bed one, Shabbos or Chol. And that's the halacha. That's the halacha. As much as we know that we like to use Shem and Zayis, it's a hidur. It's much better, but you're allowed to use even the bed oils and the bed wicks as long as they may survive the half an hour. Yeah, it's okay. Now, Amua Rabbanon Kameda Abaye, Mishmei de Rabbi Yirmiyah. Rabbanon said what we just learned. They said it to Abaye that you're allowed to use the oils for Chanukah candles on behalf of Rabbi Yirmiyah. If you remember, Rabbi Yirmiyah is the one who just explained what we just said now. Veloy Kibla, he did not accept it. He didn't accept it. Later on, Ki also Rabin, when Rabin came from Eretz Yisrael to Bovel, later on in history, Amur Rabbanon again kameid Abai Mishmei Rabbi Yochanan. Yeah, Rabbanon then said b'shem Rabbi Yochanan. Why Rabbi Yochanan? Rabbi Yochanan was a big master Amoyer in Eretz Yisrael. So now you heard the Amoyer from Eretz Yisrael, Rabbi Yochanan, quoted by Rabin. Oh, then the Kibla. Oh, if Rabbi Yochanan says it, I accept. It may happen many times, right? You hear an opinion b'shem whoever, you don't accept it. Rabbi Yirmiyah was the very Chosh V'Amoira, but Abai held of him less than he held of who? Of Rabbi Yochanan. Once Rabbi Yochanan said it, then Abai accepted it. That really halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan, that you're allowed to use those bad oils and bad candles for Chanukah, Shabbos, or weekday. Now, Omar, and then Abaye, was saying sadly, was like lamenting over what happened, and he said, "Is a koi. If I had the zchus, if I had the merit, if I had the zchus, I would have learned the sugya properly right from the start." He's sorry for not accepting the opinion, of Rabbi Yirmiyah right from the start. But at the end of the day, he did learn it properly. So what does he care? Why is he crying over spilled milk? So the Gemara nafkamina legilsa de yankusa. Abai was very sorry that his girsa de yankusa, the girsa that he learned at a young age, was the wrong one. Yeah, because Rashi says girsa de yankuska miskayim yoysa mishal zikna. Yeah, what you learn as a young person is engraved in your memory, etched in your memory, in your knowledge much more than you learn when you're older. Yeah, you learn a halacha when you start yeshiva, you learn it much better than when you meet it later on in life. Taf Aleph, Amud Beis, Erev Tov. We are just starting exactly now. Vekavta ein zakuk la. Yeah, the line starts with the word deyan kuta. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, I don't know, 12 or 13 lines from the top of the page. Taf Aleph on the base. Vekovso. Yeah, diyan kusa vekovso. Frek the Gemara. The Gemara asks now the question. Vekovso. Ain't Zokukla? Are you sure about that? Is that true? That if your Chanukah candle goes out after, I don't know, after 2 minutes, it's okay, no problem. Keep playing your dreidel, keep eating the sufganiyot, gaining calories, keep, I don't know, do whatever you want. No problem, you don't have to relight. Is that so? Raminu, I'll challenge you from a brisa. It says in the brisa, mitzvoso mishet yishka achama. The mitzvah of lighting the candles is from shkia sachama. I'm not going to the question shkia or tseis. Let's whenever shkia is until there are no more regel, there are no more legs walking until people do not walk in the marketplace anymore. Yeah, until people are just not. We're going to discuss the detail later. In other words, so what are we talking about? You have to have your Chanukah candle lit from Shkia until half an hour, or if you live in Ramat Beit Shemesh, till 10 o'clock at night. Rav Kornfeld said, yeah, people walk around in the streets till 10. You live in Manhattan until 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. I'm saying, yes, until then. My love, what does it mean really, practically? The Ikovsa Hodor Madliklo. What does it mean? That you have to have your candle lit from Shkia until the end of the time, until the end of that period of time, until 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, until there are no more customers in the street, no more people in the street. And if it's out, you have to relight it. Isn't that what it means? How come you're telling me, Rav is telling me, so ain't zakuk lo, no. We see that you have to have the candle lit until the end of that time slot, time frame, right? And if not, you have to relight. Isn't it so? And it says Gemara, it's not what it means. It means two possible things. La alocha, we pass on both. The first of all, first explanation is the Eloi adlik madlik, which means lechatchila you should light right bashkia. Right at the beginning, be a good koilel guy, come home, right bashkia, right by tzeis, sfara, dashkenaz, right at the right time. But if you missed it, by mistake you missed it, madlik, you can light it until regular minashuk. In other words, not that you have to have the whole time. At any point between shkia and tichla regular minashuk, any given moment, you can start your hadlaka. That's what it means. Yeah, not the whole time, but any moment within this time. Inami, v'inami leshiura. This is definitely la alocha. Leshiura, which means lechatchila, you should put enough oil, should be reasonable oil, even the bad one, but reasonable. You should feel how much do you feel your what you call it, the glass that you feel it enough until kol regular minashuk, at least half an hour. If you're more machmir, do an hour or two. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm saying until kol regular minashuk, right? That's what it means. Now, if it's out, if the wind blew it, if it blew because it's not so good quality, then you don't have to worry about it. But at least potentially, you should have enough oil to cover until kol regular minashuk. Tosis points out, Eloi adlik madlik, then afterwards you can't light anymore. Tosis Eloi adlik madlik. Let's look at Tosis Dila adlik madlik. The second Tosis, he says, "Aval mikan va'elach over azman." Once you missed the, let's say, half an hour, the Tosis the Eloi adlik madlik. Yeah. Once you missed the time, you missed it. You blew it. That's it. Some Rishonim say, but you can light. Tosis is machmir. Yeah. Once it's kol regim l'shuk, nobody's in the street. You don't have any crowd anymore. You don't light anymore. You have to light straight away, not to miss the boat. If you did light afterwards, he's a bit more makel, and he can be madlik misofek, because we also have another answer. It means that it's not the deadline, it's just enough time. The Ri says, and people rely on that today, you don't have to worry about when you light. Tosis lived in France, and the Ritva says here, often or Ritva says, in France there's a lot of anti-Semitism. Ritva says it already, not like today. Yeah, and right, that was an unfunny joke, right? And therefore, he says we light inside. We light inside, as the Gemara is going to say later on. I know Hasidim do it nowadays. I know about that, yeah. So Lamaisa, since today the crowd is your Bnei Bais, so you can do it even later. I'm not a Paisik, it's not a Chashir, just giving ideas. Now let's continue. Ad shetich l'regel min hashuk, frag the Gemara ve'ad kama. Until when is that? What do you mean regel min hashuk? In other words, when you say you have to have it lit until people are not in the market anymore, you mean most people? Even one person? 40%? What do you mean? You always have like one odd person walking 12 o'clock at night. I don't know, with his wife to hospital to give birth. What are you talking about? Omer Abba Bar Bar Chana, Omer B'Yochanan, ad the Kalya Rigla de Talmudoi. Until the Talmudoi, we're going to explain soon who they are, until the nation called Talmudoi, until they are already, even if they're going already back home, until then you can still light. And until then, you should have your oil, lit for that time. What are these Talmudoi business? Explains Rashi, the Bramaschil Talmudoi. Rashi, Rigla de Talmudoi. 1, 2, 3, in the narrow lines. It's about the fourth or fifth narrow line. Shem Uma, it's the name of a nation. Malakta Etzim Dakim. Basically, they would be the match sellers, the matches. They would sell like what we call today matches to light your fire, your fireplace. Misakvin Bashuk, they would be the last ones in the market. You know why? Ad Sholchim B'nei Shuk leBatei Mishachashecha. Everybody else goes home. The barber and the butcher and the cobbler, they all go home. Umevarim beBateiim Ur, and in their house, people already light fire in the fireplaces. And then they say, what's going on? I'm out of matches. Oh, then they're like the late night shop, yeah. For those who already managed to close shop, go home, realize, where are the matches? Can you go buy matches by the Tormudoim? So the Tormudoim shop would be the last one around. Only after they close their shop, until then it's called regular minashuk. But that's quite a late time, right? Okay. Today it's a shayla regular minashuk. I was once in London, I was in hospital there, and I was near the main street of London. It was I'm not exaggerating. It was 2:00 at night, or was the weekend. It was like Motzei Shabbos, Sunday night. I'm not exaggerating. 2-3 o'clock at night, I woke up. It was after an operation. Full Oxford Street. It's like the main street, full of cars. Like you think it's 10 o'clock in the morning. So there's no regular mission. It's like to no end. I don't know. It's halacha. It wasn't Chanukah, but I'm saying each makom has its different cost serving the shuk. But it's you take it seriously. Ask your rabbi. Maybe you have to put a lot of oil. I don't know. I'm not telling you what to do. Weiter. Okay, just an idea. Tono Rabbanon. Oh, here comes the main sugya of Chanukah, the famous one. Mitzvahs Chanukah ner ishu beisoy. The mitzvah of Chanukah is me'ikar adin, a person in his house, which means the mitzvah of Chanukah is each person lights one candle each night. You don't have to add more candles, me'ikar adin, and there's one candle enough for beisoy, for the entire family. Yeah, it's a mitzvah in the house. This house should announce, we are Jews, we celebrate Chanukah, we do Persumanes. Yeah, one candle for the whole family, one per night. Yes, that's Ikar mitzvah. Now, the Mehadrin, people, says Rashi, those who Mehadrin achar mitzvahs. Yeah, people who are searching for more mitzvahs, Mehadrin, they want more mitzvahs. Ner lekol echad ve'echad, they create one candle for each person, one for the father, for the son, for the daughter maybe, for each and every person except for the wife. The wife is the yotz of the husband. The Mehadrin mina Mehadrin. Oh, people are Mehadrin mina Mehadrin. Super hidur. B'shamai oimrim yom rishon madlik shmoino mikan va'ilach poiches v'hoilech. B'shamai say that of course you have to now be super Mehader. I'm following now some of the Rishonim. It's a very famous machlokes. Each and every person. Let's go now with Ashkenazi way. Each and every person, what does he do? He has his own candle. Not only one candle, it's not enough to show the nace in general. You have to show what is the nace about. So you have to have 8 candles. Then later on you have 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is how you show the nace Chanukah more precisely, that we have to do with numbers and adding or subtracting the candles. I'm going to tell you, that's what I was looking for before. The Pnei Yoshua, you see Pnei Yoshua, just saw it now, explains the shit of B'sil B'Shamai. We'll explain it later. B'silel oimrim yom rishon madlika achas, ikan melech moisif oilech. B'silel kayadua, that's the way we do. Yeah, you light one candle, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. But the idea of both B'Shamai and B'silel, basically, in that time to advertise there's a nace, you have to advertise what the nace is about. Lahavdil, in the world of advertisement, you know, my wife was studying it, yeah, there are 2 types of advertisement, like Coca-Cola, like huge Coca-Cola in the middle of Times Square. They're not telling you what Coca-Cola is. Maybe it came from somewhere, I think it's shoes, just to get the name. And there's another ad, which is very smart. It explains to you what it is and what's good for you, right? It's much more detailed, right? This is the not, right? So the second pirsum, Mehadrin, is not stop to have the lights. You have to know what the nace was about. And the nace was about either taking off days or adding days. And we're going to explain why. Omar Ula, Pliga Batoya Moiroi, B'Marova. There's a machlokes between 2 Amoiroim in Eretz Yisrael, how to explain machlokes B'Shamai and B'Silel. Now we're going to explain the reason why, behind. Rabbi Yossi bar Abin, Rabbi Yossi bar Zveda. They are the 2 Amoiroim in Eretz Yisrael. Chad Omar, one of them says, Time at the B'Shamai keneged yomim hanichnosim. B'Shamai's idea is to, so to speak, welcome the 8 days, and then you slowly diminish. In other words, keneged nichnosim. I'm about to experience 8 days of Chanukah. Then the second night, I'm about to experience 7 days. I'm welcoming 6 days, and so on. Yeah, I'm looking at the incoming days. I'm anticipating 8 days, then 7 and 6 and 5. And Basila say no. Every time I light against the days that are going, and the coming day, which I'm lighting now, it belongs to the past days. I'm lighting keneged the days that are going out. 1 out, 2 out, 3 out, 4 out. Yeah, 8 days are full. All 8 days are gone already. At the end of Chanukah, 8 days, we finished 8 days. And we light 8 days, keneged what we finished. The Pnei Yeshua says a very, very nice pshat, which I looked again especially just to make sure, and that is, there's a machlokes b'sham v'silal. How did the nes actually happen? Did the nes happen in the pach, in the jug, or did the nes happen in the candles? Why? One opinion says that the jug itself was going down, 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 meaning they were very smart. The Kohanim and Beis Hamikdash, the Chashmonoim, they knew it's going to take 8 days, and there are many reasons for that, because they knew it either takes 7 days for the Parah Aduma, the Rotome, 1 day plus 7 days Parah Aduma, or it took them 3 days to go to Takoa, where they make the oil and then bring it. They were cheshbonis. They knew it's going to be 8 days, and they were not stupid. They said, okay, let's light 1/8. The first night, they said, let's take 1/8 shminit from the jug, and we'll have a little bit, yeah. And we won't be yoitze maybe, but something. And they know what happened. Wow, and it lit the whole night. Yeah, only 1/8 of the bezich of the menorah lit the whole night. But Lamaisa, the way it looked was very interesting. That in the jug it went down every time they took 1/8. So because the nace was there, right? Yeah, the oil that was in the jug was miraculous and lit more in the candles. But the one going down, down, down was 8, then 7, and 6, 5. That's a shita of Shammai. The Shammai say just like the jug went down, down, down gradually, so too we go down, down, down. The Hillel say what we always learned in Gan. The Hillel say no. They lit the whole thing, right? So the jug was empty. Goodbye, jug. The whole thing was lit, right? Right? And every night it started again and again, right? So Mimela, that's adding, right? It was added in the menorah, more and more light in the menorah, right? And that's why we light 1, 2, 3, 4, increasing. That's Basil. That's a beautiful Pnei Yeshua. So now the Chad Omar, the other Amoira, explains the machlokes differently. Time at the Beis Shammai keneged porei achad. The reason why Beis Shammai tells you to go down, 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 because we found such a system where on Sukkot, on the first day of Sukkot, how many porim do you bring from Musaf? How many bulls do you bring from Musaf? 13, right? And then you go 12, 11, 10, you go down, 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 keneged the goyim. The goyim go down, right? And therefore, on Chanukah, I do the same. Soon I'm going to explain to you the connection. The time of the Beis Hillel say no. The Malin B'Kodesh Ve'en Moridin. Usually, B'chol Torah Kula, in most cases in the Torah, you add Kedusha. You don't take down Kedusha. You see it all the time. Yeah, you put your talis and your tefillin. You put Yad and then Rosh. One of the reasons is that. In Lechem Aponim, first they baked it in something simple, then they put it in gold. So the Pnei Yeshua says over, I'm sorry, I can't do this too superficially. So the Pnei Yeshua says very nice. What's the connection of the Purim to Chanukah? There are many philosophical explanations. I also know in Chassidus, but Lamaisa, the Poshup Tat, he says very nice. Be'etzem, Basil say, we do what's normal. There's a normal klal all over the Shas, all over Torah, all over Chumash. Right? Finished. But Shammai say no. But Shammai said that's only true in quality, not in quantity. And they're right. Malin B'Kodesh, if you follow Malin B'Kodesh, and I researched that, it's in quality. First the talis, which is less Kodesh, then the tefillin, that's more Kodesh. First I put the lechem upon him in simple metal, then fancier, but not more. When it comes to numbers, we haven't found that. And now Beis Shammai are picking on just an example. It doesn't mean there's an intrinsic connection between Parah Chag and Chanukah. They're saying, look, we're researching. We don't think that your business of Malam Kodesh is connected. It's here about quantity, not quality. Once it's quantity, look, we found a system of quantity. There are a few days, and look what we do. We do the big quantity, then less. We'll do the same in Chanukah. Doesn't even have to have any. I'm sure there's many Haligi ideas, but that's Poshup Pshat. Pshat, we found a similar case, Doraisa. Rabbana do like Doraisa. Weiter, all beautiful things here. There were 2 elderly, important people in Tzidon, in the city of Tzidon, maybe Tzidon in Lebanon. Echad also Beis Shammai, ve'echad also Kedivrei Beis Hillel. One did like Beis Shammai, one did like Beis Hillel. Now it's very strange to do like Beis Shammai. Normally you don't do like Beis Shammai. So therefore, the one who behaved like Bishama said, I believe Bishama in this case are right because they have a good reason for Porach Chag. The other one said, no, I follow Beis Hillel because I still believe that here too, we do connect the quality and quantity. What's the answer for Beis Hillel? Why do we connect? Well, because here quantity is quality. Because when you talk about numbers here, it makes the pirsomet, it makes the advertisement more quality because you get the picture better. You get the storyline better through this. Mimela here, quantity really means quality because the onlooker of the advertisement understands better what's going on. This is all shtiklachter, all these portion. Ner Chanukah. Mitzvah la'anich al Pesach beiso mibachutz. We all know that, right? And then Chanukah, you're supposed to put it on the Ner, on where? On the door of the opening. Let's say you live in a private house. Where? By the door of your house outside for Pirsum Hanes, to advertise it. Im hoyo dar ba'aliyah. If you live in the second floor, you place it in the window that's close to Shus Rabim. We always have questions. 20 amos. Let's see below 20 amos. I don't want to go there now. Yeah. Second floor, like many of us, you put it in the window that overlooks the Shus Rabim. Shasa Sakono. Shasa Sakono. There were times, the Rishonim explained, there was a time that the Chaverim, not the good Chaverim, the bad Chaverim, that's a nation, they had one time a year, maybe it fell in Chanukah, you're not allowed to light any candles anywhere in town except for their base of the Zorah. It was illegal to light any candles. So if it falls on Chanukah, what do? They're going to kill you. You put it on your table indoors, anti-Semitism, Arabs, Nazis, whatever, you put it on the table inside, and who gets the Pirsum Hanes? The Bnei Abayis. Bedaya, it's good enough. There's a lot to say here, but I spent my own time before. Now what about the Shamish? Who is the Shamish? Where's the Shamish? You need another candle. Besides the Neres Chanukah that you have, you need another candle. Now the Goin erases the words Lishtamish Le'oiro. What does it mean Lishtamish Le'oiro? If you read the Gemara, it sounds like you need another candle. If you need to use the light, use another candle. But the Goin says no. It's also mashma from Rashi. Even if I leave the room and I'm not near the candles area, I still have to have a candle there to show symbolically that those candles are not for use. Those candles are not because of a power cut of sakat chashmal. Those candles are the extra candle is there to be used if I have to, even if I'm not using it now. Conceptually, is there for use. And Mimela, the other candles, what are there for? Just for the mitzvah. And here's the proof. What about if I have a nice fireplace, nice balbatish guy, he has a fireplace on the other side of the room. You don't need a shamish, because then what? You have the Chanukah candles and you have the fireplace. Everybody sees you're using the fireplace for light. You may have to understand that those candles over there are clearly for different reason, just for the mitzvah, and it's Pirsum Hanes only for the mitzvah. What about if he's an important person? Important people, Dafka, didn't use the fireplace. It was too cheap for them. They would have their own candles. If you're a nice choshev mensch, you have your own private candle. So therefore, if you're sitting in a room and you have a fireplace and there's also a candle in the room, people may think, oh, this is also a choshev Rosh Yeshiva, a choshev guy. You know he has a candle. It's private, custom made for him to use. Even if he adds the Menorah. The Menorah is like too common. It's too simple. So if you're a choshev guy who doesn't normally use the Menorah, the fireplace, the bonfire, and you always use private candles, and you have the Chanukah candle, you always need the shamish, another extra candle, to show that this is my private candle, to read my stuff and read my Gemara and do my things. These are Ner Chanukah. And the big fire, anyhow, don't use. I mean, I use it in general, but it's not mine. My 5 minutes? Yeah, we have time. Yeah. My Chanukah. We're getting into more famous sugyas. My Chanukah. Now Rashi explains, my Chanukah doesn't mean what is Chanukah. We know what Chanukah is. Rashi says, Al Eizanes Kva'ua. We all know that in Chanukah there are many. I think at every Chanukah party, every Chanukah drosha, they always talk about the two nisim. Which one is more important? Which one? Right? So there were two main nisim in Chanukah. Maybe there were many more, but two main ones: that they won the war, and also that they found the Nespach Hashemen and it lit for 8 days instead of one. So Al Eizanes Kva'ua. Which nes out of the two was enough of a reason to create a holiday? Not every nace that happened in history, we created a Chag. We spoke about that already before, right? In Daf Yudal Demut Beis. So what merits Chanukah? Which nace was the more choshev one that made us really create a holiday, a Chag Midrabanon? What pushed Rabbanon? Which nace pushed Rabbanon to create the Chag, the holiday? The Tanu Rabbanon, famous brayso. By the way, this is a quote from Megillas Tainis. We spoke in Daf Yudal Demut Beis, Megillas Tainis. Remember, there were many, many days in Jewish history where there were nisim, and then because there are nisim, then we're not supposed to fast on those days. Today they canceled it except for Chanukah v'Purim. Chanukah is one of those days. This is a quote from Megillas Tainis. Chafei b'Kislev are the 8 days of Chanukah. Tamnia Inun, there are 8. The Lola Mispat Behun, you're not allowed to have a hesped. If somebody dies on Chanukah, not supposed to eulogize, to do hesped. The Lola Isanus Bon, you're not allowed to fast on Chanukah. That's a law. You're not allowed to fast on Chanukah. If there's a yortzeit, ask your rabbi. Shekshenichnesu Yavonim laheichal. Yavonim came into the heichal. We all know that. Kimu kol hashmanim shebaheichal. Yeah, they defile. Why did they defile all the shmanim? Remember what we said? What were they? Zavim, right? The Yavonim were Zavim because we gazer. There is Zavim. Dafin Zayin on base. If there's Zavim, anything that they move, that they touch, becomes Tomeh, filthy people, right? Ukshegovru malchus beis chashmonoi v'nitzchum. When Beis Chashmonoi finally won over, but this is mentioned as a side point, it's not the meaning. When we finally, Beis Chashmonoi took over, they won the war, they usurped them, but who they checked? As we know, there was only one pach shemen, only one jug of oil that was placed. You know, it's placed in the Chosim Kohen Gadol, people don't understand. It was like inside, like a metal box that couldn't be moved in the ground. You see that actually in the Kotel. I mean, not from then, yeah. But it was like a metal grid, like on the floor. So therefore they couldn't move it. It was in a position, it wasn't movable. So even though Zavim, if they move something, it's Tomeh, this was placed in like a small cage. That's Chosmoi. And therefore, because it was not movable, therefore they knew that they didn't move it, and that's why it was Tahor. That's 1,000,000%. I saw it in at least one forage. Yeah. That's with Hechshav Kohen Gadol. Was oil just enough for one day? Mazel tov. Only, yeah, they thought it's one day, and they were madlik for 8 days, and that seems to be the climax of Chanukah. That was the bigger nace. I mean, to win the war was very, very big nace, but to won 8 days, it's all shows Ahavas Hashem much more. That was the nace that caused the triggered Rabbanon to create the holiday. But when did they create the holiday? Shana Acheres, not that year. The Shana Acheres, Kvom Vasom Yomim Tovim Ba'alal Voido. The following year, after the 8 days were over, and they saw that really the nace had good impact on Klal Yisrael, then they created the Yom Tov B'Halal Voido. Halal Voido, says Rashi, B'Halal Voido, Likrois Halal, V'loimer Lanisim Voido. Rashi says before, Halal, to say Halal, and Hoido means Alanisim. Practical things. You say Halal, yes you do, Halal Sholem even. And in Shmoneh Esrei, in Birkas Hamazon, you say Alanisim. Okay. Shkoyach. So we have Chanukah after Purim, all the Rabbanans together. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for people who participate in Zoom and for everybody on YouTube that watches us. Thank you very much and a good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos.